And now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is such an honor for me to present our next speaker for you. He is the 16th Chairman, Joint Chief of Staff Committee, and also a 4-star rank Army General of the Pakistani Army. He is known for his prominence in leadership and also his intelligence and command in the Pakistani Army. Please welcome His Excellency General Zubair Mahmood Hayat.
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening. I'm pleased to speak at the Future Summit. Let me commend all those involved in making this event a reality. I'm gratified to see a wide level of participation from eminent national and international speakers who are here to share their perception about Pakistan and, more importantly, about its future. I believe that such intellectual discourse will go a long way to project the true image and potentials of a progressive and prosperous Pakistan. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me first contextualize Pakistan's obtaining geostrategic and geo-economic environments. In today's geopolitical construct, despite the overriding influence of geostrategy that we see on geoeconomics, still energy security and trade interests of regional and extra-regional powers are at the forefront as prime national security considerations. Pakistan is no exception. International powers continue to compete for access to and control of resources not only in this region but beyond. Presence of foreign military bases in the Gulf, Arabian Sea, South and Central Asia are likely to persist. More and more countries around the globe are seeking regional alliances and groupings to safeguard their economic and security interests. And therefore, regional alliances like the EU, the ASEAN, and more importantly, the upcoming SCO would figure out, more importantly, in the current and future geopolitical and geoeconomic mosaic of the world. Irrespective of its size and location, every country strives to seek positive strategic relevance to advance its perceived national interests, both globally and regionally. To achieve national political aspirations, factors such as geostrategic location, geo-economic interest, interplay of competing interest, and internal dynamics determine every national strategic construct. Pakistan is again no different. In Pakistan context, because of our geographical existence in what I call as an arc of crisis, there has been a perpetual quest for peace, stability, and security. Pakistan is the gateway to several strategic directions, notably a linkage for the flow of strategically important energy resources of the Middle East, Central Asia, and South Asia, thus making this wider region an area of enduring focus for the world leading powers, but with often conflicting interests. Similarly, Pakistan is geographically contiguous to two emerging powers. It also offers Central Asian states the shortest route to the Arabian Sea. In nutshell, and I really mean nutshell, Pakistan is a country of immense geostrategic importance. According to Stephen Cohen, while history has been unkind with Pakistan, its geography has been its greatest benefit. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's relevance for major global power is an existential reality and will be even more so in times to come. This is because convergence of interest in regional political, security, and economic connectivity as a geostrategic economic pivot of the region and beyond. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to put before you the pivotal role of Pakistan in the future socio-economic domain of the region. The regional scenario in South Asia is influenced not only by the US policy of Asia pivot or China's BRI. This provides Pakistan with an opportunity to maximize its leverage in socio-economic domain. In the given context, the CPEC has been termed as a game changer for which Gwadar is the springboard. The Central Asia, South Asia power project, the CASA 1000, provides the solution to the energy-starved countries of the region. The IPI gas pipeline and the TAPI are dreams of Pakistan's energy aspirations. SCO has acknowledged the growing significance of Pakistan in the region and beyond. Therefore, South Asia's and Pakistan's future lies in cooperating in sharing global and regional commons. Therein lies the contours of the future. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, now let me dwell upon some of the inherent strengths which Pakistan has and which attest for its bright future. Towards this end, any discussion of Pakistan's future has to take into account Pakistan's strategic culture first. We in Pakistan have a strategic culture of accommodation. Look at the way Pakistan has accommodated refugees since 1947, especially the Afghan refugees since 1979. Pakistanis are a hardy, resilient people, capable of absorbing great shocks, trauma, and tragedy, extremism, violence, terrorism, floods, shortages, breakdowns, drone attacks, subversion, throw anything at us, and we have the capacity to withstand jolting setbacks and regain our strategic balance. Culture of resilience is therefore our cultural heritage and landmark. Brimming with movement, energy and colors, villages, small towns and large cities of Pakistan are indicated of a functional, operating and a productive Pakistan. A strong independent judiciary setting unprecedented standards of accountability and protection of public interests. A parliament that is poised for potential maturity. A nation committed to accountability, however elusive it has remained in our history, and armed forces that have turned the tide of war against terrorism, the only one to have done it in the modern history. People have high hopes for a progressive, forward-looking, non-sectarian approach to our national discourse and politics. Ladies and gentlemen, landscape and demographic construct are the key ingredients of future. Pakistan is blessed with the beautiful and even unrivaled features on both these accounts. We are the 5th most populous country in this world. 1 in every 40 human beings in the world is a Pakistani. In Pakistan, we are young. We have a median age of 23 years. There are more people aged 14 and younger in Pakistan than there are in United States of America. We are spectacularly diverse, yet unequally intertwined. This landscape and demographic construct provides the wholesome framework for a dynamic future full of opportunities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, for the future, Pakistan's nuclear capability will remain a constant. Given large conventional forces in the region, Pakistan needs to rely on its nuclear strategic capability to credibly deter any aggression and military adventurism. This provides the strategic security to the future of Pakistan. But it's not only about security. Future investment in nuclear infrastructure can help reduce the power crisis. The nuclear power generation contributes today 6.2% of the total electricity generation of Pakistan in 2017. At present, the country has 5 operating nuclear power plants that have a cumulative generation capacity of over 1,400 megawatts, while 2 other reactors are under construction near Karachi. The nuclear power technology, infrastructure, and related domestic workforce is poised to support expansion of state's nuclear power program. Nuclear power plants developed in the next 17 years can produce an additional 7,000 plus megawatts of energy, and the expansion of nuclear power plant till 2030 will enable Pakistan to raise its nuclear power level to over 8,800 megawatts. We also have embarked upon developing our space and cyber potentials, for which preliminary base has been established. This needs to be further expanded to accrue the prospective socio-economic dividends offered by these new emerging yet critical domains. Human resource development is at the heart of Pakistan's future. In today's Pakistan, we have a pool, not an ocean, but a pool of very skilled, sophisticated, technocratic, and sharply focused managers in diverse fields. We have able specialists in banking service, in engineering, in technologies, in fast-moving consumer goods, in public and private enterprises, both in public and private domains. These are all indicators of a proficient yet technological elite and a dynamic corporate sector. All we need to do is to expand this base. We can, we must. According to the survey conducted by the Institute of European Business Administration, Pakistanis are the 4th most intelligent people in this world. Human resource development, therefore, and its potential remains the single greatest potential driver of Pakistan's bright future. All we have to do is to believe in ourselves and work diligently. Ladies and gentlemen, women will have a significant role in future Pakistan. In Pakistan, perhaps more than other compatible nations and societies, women render a positive role. This started with Muhtarama Fatima Jinnah. Women are actively visible part of the public domain in every field as diverse as the farm labor and garment manufacturing industry, media and aviation, corporate management, fashion designing, modeling, underwater exploration, mountaineering. Several women have achieved global recognition for their outstanding abilities. Several more are widely hailed on a regional and national basis. We are, after all, the first Muslim country which allocated 17% of seats to women in both houses of the Federation, and also in the 4 provincial legislations, and 33% of seats in all elected forums of the local government elections in Pakistan. This is even higher than some of the European standards on this account. We were, after all, the first Muslim country to elect a woman prime minister, not once, but twice. In a popular vote, if Pakistan's future assets are to be counted, women remain at the top of the table. According to a report, 5% increase in women workforce in Pakistan will increase Pakistan's GDP by 5%. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our national effort in the counter-violent extremism are unprecedented, and they augur well for our future prospects. Pakistan is the first country to fulfill obligations under the United Nations Resolutions 2354 by promoting the narrative of peace and tolerance against terrorism and extremism. This has come in the form of Paigam-e-Pakistan that was launched this year in January, which serves as a basis for our national narrative. This is a joint fatwa by more than 5,000 religious ulama of Pakistan and scholars, which seeks to promote the concept of a plural society with equal rights to every citizen. They condemn every form of violent extremism and terrorism, declaring an armed struggle an act of sedition and rebellion against the state. We are beginning to find solutions to our own challenges and charting our own course. This trajectory leads to a progressive and modern society ethos. This was Jinnah's and Iqbal's vision in the making. We are also playing a leading role in international peacekeeping. In the field of peacekeeping operations under the UN banner, our contributions are unrivaled, as Pakistan tops the list of major contributors for UN peacekeeping missions. Beginning in Congo in 1960, Pakistan has contributed in 43 missions to 26 countries for peacekeeping. In total, over 172,000 Pakistani peacekeepers, including 400 women, have served as peacekeepers under the UN flag. 157 Pakistani peacekeepers, including 24 officers, have laid down their lives for global peace. Even now, 6,000 Pakistanis are currently deployed in various United Nations missions. The leading UN peacekeeping role makes us a front runner in future global and regional security constructs, not only for today, but more importantly, for tomorrow. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud of our progressive agriculture base. All major crops in Pakistan have witnessed phenomenal rise in yields since our birth in 1947. Compared to 1947, the wheat production in this country is up by 628%. A country of 30 million at that time was deficient in wheat. Today, alhamdulillah, it produces surplus wheat. Likewise, the production of rice in 1947. Today, it has gone up by over 1,744%, sugarcane by 875%, and cotton by over 1,000%. We are world's fourth largest cotton producer. Yet our agriculture productivity ranges only between 29 to 52%, which is far below the regional, but more importantly, the global standards. In future, if we increase our output to global standards, we can increase the share of agriculture, which is currently about 18.9% of our GDP, by 100%, making it to 37.8% of our GDP. And why can't we? And why must we not? Similarly, Pakistan is the world's fifth largest dairy producer, and increasingly its exports of milk and beef to the Middle East has seen a sharp increase. In addition to meeting these and domestic needs, there is a growing new Chinese investment also in the field. Add IT and artificial intelligence in agriculture and dairy base, and we could literally be moving mountains in these domains. This I find very exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, now a few words about the ever-growing industrial sector of Pakistan. Pakistan contains what I call as the islands of successful modernity and excellent administration. Not many, but enough to keep the country pushing along. A few impressive modern industries, communication infrastructure, state-of-the-art universities, and in every generation, a number of efficient, honest, and devoted public servants. Pakistan has a progressive IT sector which has earned up to date more than 3.3 billion up to 2016 and 17, reaching 5 billion in totality up to last year, and has the potential to grow even more. The aviation industry of Pakistan is growing by leaps and bounds. As per Airbus, air passenger traffic in Pakistan is likely to double from its current standards by 2037. Pakistan also contains certain islands of high technology, above all in nuclear industry, which is very remarkable achievement for a country of Pakistan's scientific and economic profile. And it shows what the state can do and achieve if it really sets its mind to and can mobilize enough educated, honest men who are committed in performing their task. The ingredients of an industrial society will have to be nurtured and flourished to optimize Pakistan's future industrial potential. An educated society, policy thrust in this direction can galvanize this thrust. Digitized governance and digitized economy are Pakistan's future. Now, with regard to entrepreneurship, I would say that we have people who conduct an astonishing range of productive and profitable operations. They imitate as well as invent. They adapt as well as adopt methods to produce manufacturing goods and services which meet a wide range of needs at competitive cost with reasonable quality. They use small spaces, often inside cramped housing units, to demonstrate a charming capacity for inventive entrepreneurship in the field of software development for advanced global scale acceptability. Today, there are many such stories, even in this room, in this city, and indeed in whole of Pakistan. They require recognition, encouragement, and a competitive enabling environment. A Pakistani developed an application called photo editing, known as Photo Editor Suite. It became the best-selling paid-for application worldwide for the BlackBerry device. The software was developed by a firm named Pepper.pk, which in turn is owned by a Lahore-based company known as 5 Rivers. There are also several such and many more instances of imaginative new IT applications which meet precisely focused needs and demands. There is an innate ability of Pakistani youth to repair complex systems and handle sophisticated technology. All this without having developed an optimal mass literacy and educational base. The future, thus, has to be even brighter. Now, a few words about a vibrant, flourishing mass communication sector. We have over 150 million cell users, 60 million broadband, 40 million Facebook, 59 billion WhatsApp, and 4 million Twitter users across this country. Our future appetite for digitization, I say, is unending and immense. This new digitization DNA has an exponential growth potential in e-commerce and e-finance and much more. Take an example. In China, Alibaba Singles Day sale on its online shopping platform only 2 days ago reached a record 30.7 billion sales in one day. If it can be done in China, why can't it be done in Pakistan? Pakistan has a nascent e-commerce industry, just about $1 billion. Let me give you an example. A newly started company called ELO, which means export leftovers, started by Mr. Umar Qureshi, built around finding the best quality branded garments at factory direct prices, has suddenly become one of the largest web stores ever built in Pakistan. This shows what is the potential and what is the sky limit. Ladies and gentlemen, the second and third generation Pakistani diaspora is a matter of pride for Pakistan and a source of valuable remittances. Our individuals of extraordinary ability are achieving excellence in a wide range of fields in a highly competitive conditions in some of the most advanced countries of the world, from skilled neurosurgeon and respected medical specialists in major institutions to software millionaires in Silicon Valley, from top flight managers and banking and financial services sectors to high-level corporate directors, from dynamic leaders of trade and industry to scholars in universities and writers of repute. These are men of Pakistani origin who have made it happen. A future Pakistan, I'm sure, will enable this diaspora to achieve a synergy of efforts for socio-economic growth of this country. But for this to happen, the IT connectivity have to be essentially created and enabled. Pakistan is blessed with the vast avenues of tourism, the variety of landscapes, housing the best tourist resorts, including the coastline, mountains, and rich historical sites. They represent a profitable avenue of tourism. Already, tourism is making healthy gains in Pakistan. Significant improvement in security situation has helped boost annual tourist arrivals. Last year, for example, close to 2 million tourists visited Pakistan, which was the highest in last quarter of a century. World Travel and Tourism Council estimates that Pakistan could potentially generate up to $36 billion through tourism up to 2030. To reach this ambitious goal, we have to connect to the e-domain in the world. With regard to Pakistan's economic potential, I would say that in the Goldman Sachs formulated notion of next 11 included Pakistan in this group. It was included not by chance, but because it was identified as one of those countries owing to its size, growing population, and its industrial base. Pakistan has an ability to produce consumer goods and have a substantial domestic market capacity to consume them. How many countries of the world have that potential? Future Pakistan will have increased requirement of investment and infrastructure-led growth cycle, fueling expansion in housing, health, education, food, infrastructure, energy, telecommunications, IT, and financial services, and much more. This means that Pakistan's economy will move on 3 parallel structures: agriculture, manufacturing, and increasingly services. And in all 3, IT and artificial intelligence will be fundamental. According to the world-famous economist Jim O'Neill, who coined the term BRICS, Pakistan would become the 18th largest economy of the world by 2050. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we have a vast treasure of tapped and yet untapped minerals and natural resources. Some say that mineral is Pakistan's future. Pakistan's landmass is rich in natural resources, including minerals. It is blessed with huge mineral deposits of coal, gas, oil, limestone, and other minerals. The untapped mineral resources of Pakistan include reservoirs of platinum, copper, gold, and iron worth billion, and according to some estimates, trillions of dollars. A discontinuous belt of 150 kilometers run through Pakistan, containing world's recognized rare earth material used in high technological equipment and other electronics. Pakistan sits on the periphery of one of the most prolific oil-producing regions in the world. It is home to estimated recoverable oil of over billions of barrels. Pakistan ranks 9th in the world in terms of shale gas, ahead of Canada and Indonesia, with a reserve estimated at over 220 billion barrels of shale oil. Only in Fata runs an oil sea under it, which has to emerge as a potential new oil state in 5 years' time. The third coal reserve of Pakistan, totaling over 175 billion ton. This, in terms of oil reserves, if converted, is more than the oil reserves of KSA and Iran put together. These are the Pakistan's strategic assets. The maritime potential of Pakistan is enormous. The seabed of our waters is teeming with living and non-living marine resources, including deposits of metals, oil, and gas. Let me share with you a recent offshore survey conducted by the National Institute of Oceanography in Pasni Gawadar Belt has revealed very encouraging results, indicating presence of large reserves of gas hydrate. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I envision a rising Pakistan in my lifetime. As alluded earlier, Pakistan's geo-economic and geostrategic relevance is perpetual and needs to be harnessed and energized. The economic prosperity and stability of this region is intertwined with prosperity and stability of this great nation, Pakistan. Pakistan's image as a progressive developing state with peaceful coexistence intent needs a desired projection. Pakistanis need to dismiss the artificial negativity which is painted around Pakistan. We need to project the positives and identify bright spots in order to spread optimism throughout the society. With this tremendous potential at the back, we can, we must, we will continue to play our positive role in uplifting the economic condition of our people and this region. I would conclude on an upbeat note that comes right from my heart, that Pakistan will rise and shine, and our future generations will live in a far more prosperous and progressive Pakistan. I feel appropriate to end my talk by quoting from Guardian UK, which once wrote, "So manifold are the cliches about Pakistan that you periodically need a whole book to shatter them." My talk today was an endeavor in the same direction. Sorry for my foreign guest, I would just conclude by an Urdu couplet. मेरी ज़मीं मुझे एड़ियाँ रगड़ने दे, मेरी ज़मीं मुझे एड़ियाँ रगड़ने दे, मुझे यकीन है चश्मा यहीं से फूटेगा.
Yes, Your Excellency, your presence is undoubtedly the catalyst and also the highlight of the success of this summit, and we're so very honored to have here with us. And our audience especially has already given me the questionnaires that they would like to ask you. So on behalf of them, I'm going to deliver their questions to them, Your Excellency, and this is their first question. The first question is regarding Pakistan's relationship with its neighboring country, and the first is Afghanistan. So the first question from our audience is, how do you see the intra-peace process in Afghanistan proceeding, and do you think the recently concluded parliamentary elections in Afghanistan will bring a glimpse of hope to the country? And also, in the same question, has Pakistan abandoned the idea of strategic death vis-a-vis Afghanistan, or has that never been taken seriously all along? Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
No, thank you very much. I think this is a very relevant and pertinent question. Pakistan and Afghanistan have been truly referred to as the conjoined twins, because whatever happens in Afghanistan directly affects Pakistan, and who knows more than Pakistan? For we have seen conflict in Afghanistan not for the last 17 years. People normally tend to take 2009-11 as the starting point of the Afghan conflict. Actually, it is the last 40 years almost that the Afghan conflict has been perpetual. We have a 2,600 kilometers border with Afghanistan. We have not only geography, but we have ethnicity. There are more Pashtuns who live in Pakistan than they live in Afghanistan. In fact, the largest Pashtun city in the world is not Kabul. It is the very city I'm sitting in, is Karachi. So the linkages between our two nations are too immense and too great. Pakistan wanted peace in Afghanistan not tomorrow, but yesterday. Because only peace in Afghanistan will bring peace in Pakistan. And I'm glad you raised the issue of a strategic depth. This is my 43rd year in the military. I have never read this word in any of the official publications or any of the senior leadership that I have ever met in my life. It's a notion that was crafted by some intellectuals, and it stays. Historically speaking, every country is dependent upon other country in one way or the other. Whether it is in Europe, whether it is in Americas, whether it is in Central Asian Republic, whether it is in South Asia. Therefore, peace in Afghanistan is in the strategic interest of Pakistan. Pakistan will make every effort beyond the call of duty to make sure that it plays its positive role in bringing peace to that war-torn country. But this has to be a collective effort. Can't be done by Pakistan alone. There is no magic wand. There is no switch on, switch off. We have to have a considered and well-crafted peace process at the regional level, at the global level, and have that as a principal maneuver to craft reconciliation in Afghanistan. I remain eternally hopeful. I believe we are closer to that end state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And now my next question from our audience is, in many of your interviews and in your speeches, now you've mentioned and emphasized on global and regional commons. Could you please elaborate on that?
You see, we live in a very interconnected world. The commons at the global level, space, let me start with, is a global common. And I think we need to preserve this global common very jealously. For nations that have developed, they have a legitimate right to this global common. To nations that are developing, like Pakistan, space is a global common. It Pakistan has a legitimate interest and stake, and even I would say that even states that have yet to develop, let's say in Africa, for them we must also accommodate in the same global common. Cyber is a global common. Climate change is not only a global common, it is a regional common. The pollution that hits today most of the parts of Pakistan, but more specifically some parts of Punjab, 78% of all that pollution actually comes from across the border. It has to be a regional common. The pollution is so much that according to the latest survey, anybody who breathes one day in that smog is actually smoking 60 cigarettes. That's 3 packs of cigarettes, whether he's a child or whether he's a woman or whether he's a person. So this is the importance of the global commons that we are talking about. I'd like to finish the global commons and regional commons by talking about water. Water is increasingly probably becoming the greatest regional common. Everybody needs to share water, especially the low riparian states like Pakistan. Our interest in water needs to be safeguarded. This is a regional common for which there are international and regional treaties that exist. It has to flow under every circumstance. So there is a legitimate economic and security interest of Pakistan in all these global and regional commons. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And now from our other audience, Your Excellency, just now you've mentioned and emphasized on the relationship between Pakistan and also its neighboring country, Afghanistan, and now we're moving a little ahead to our next neighboring country, and that is India. What are your views regarding the problematic relationship right now between Pakistan and India, and do you see a possible solution or even a better reconciliation process that could give us a better glimpse of hope, of peace in the region of South Asia, Your Excellency?
Thank you very much. You see, I always believe that for every strategic direction you need a GPS. My GPS comes mostly from my great leader, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. You know what he talked about, the relationship between Pakistan and India. His vision was that you ought to have relationship like between Canada and United States. That would have been, you know, pre some governments here and there in both these countries. But having said that, there are certain realities. There is a history of conflict. There are unresolved disputes. Those are the realities. Similarly, there are notions that are at play. For example, if you have a notion of a net security provider in a region, how does one nuclear state provide security to another nuclear state in the same region? And therefore, there are core and substantive issues on which leadership is required for substantive discussions. Talks about talks, whenever we have had them in the past, have not taken us anywhere. We require uninterrupted, result-oriented, time-bounded dialogue and discussion on core issues with India to resolve so that we can achieve the end state which had been envisioned by Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from our next audience, we're moving to China. And of course, when mentioning China, we cannot forget the CPEC, or the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. That is undoubtedly, as you said, it's a game changer to have both countries of such caliber, both powerhouses, working together. Is undoubtedly the gateway to a better future. Now, Your Excellency, what is your hope and your opinions on the project, and what do you think it could benefit to Pakistan?
You see, this concept of CPAC has to be seen in the broader construct of the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative, it touches 64 nations of this world. So Pakistan is not alone. 64 countries of this world are touched by Belt and Road Initiative. Obviously, CPAC is the flagship of this Belt and Road Initiative. CPAC alone will touch more than about 36 countries, including almost all countries, littoral countries of the Indian Ocean region. In terms of money, about 64 billion US dollars projects are in the pipeline. Some early harvest projects are already coming in line. And most of these projects, 34 billion of them, relate to energy. Energy for which we were very deficient. Now remember, all this is coming at a time when foreign direct investment in Pakistan had almost dried up. Somebody wanted to lecture me one day and started speaking to me that you should be very careful on this account. I said, all right, I know I have to be very careful. I said, but you never gave me this advice when you were giving me the money. But now you want to give me this advice when somebody else is wanting to give me the money. But I take your advice. The advice is very valid. Number two, I said, somebody has put 64 billion US dollars on the table. I said, you put 6.4 billion on the table and I will start discussing with you. So you want to deny me the greatest strategic investment in Pakistan, not only in a generation, but since the time Pakistan came into being. According to an estimate, the GDP of Pakistan, once CPAC starts flowing, can triple, which means that if today it is about 330 billion US dollars, it can touch 1 trillion US dollars by 2030. Now, like anything else, it takes humans to run a system. If there are some inadequacies in the way it has been run or the way it should be run, it doesn't impinge upon the strategic concept of this process. I think this is a game changer, and I think this is the future of Pakistan, and I fully support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your authentic views. Now, ladies and gentlemen, considering that this is the Future Summit, of course, many of our audience are also very interested, not just in AI, but also in technological and security advances. Now, this question comes from a security expert. As many of us know, the new buzzword for security expert is what is called the JCOSC. Your Excellency, can you please enlighten us regarding your authentic views on the JCOSC?
I think you are asking my views as the chairman on the security construct as a whole, and I will be very happy to share that. You see, if you would have asked me this question about 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, the whole security environment would have been very different. Because we have seen from the shores of Mediterranean and Atlantic and Africa, right up to Hindu Kush, a great chaos that descended. And it turned countries upon countries on their head. One country which has reversed this tide and which has caught this bull by its horn is a country called Pakistan. Because the nation decided in earnest, and this has been a national effort. It's not only Pakistan military, it has been a national effort. 84,000 Pakistanis have given their life to say what I am saying. Over 8,000 Pakistani soldiers have laid down their lives to enable me to say what I am saying. Over 24,000 Pakistani soldiers have lost their limbs, hands and feet to enable me to say what I am saying. That today violence level in Pakistan is down by 92% from the year 2013. And this reduction in violence has been made possible by a whole-of-nation approach in which the military has played its own part. But now is the time to consolidate this gain. Now is the time to convert it into an opportunity for our prosperity and our economic growth. Now is the time for future Pakistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And this question is related to the IT and also AI. And you've mentioned and spoken a lot regarding about creating IT-enabled environment and the role of artificial intelligence, and not just in the agriculture world, but also in the armed forces. Can you please explain to us regarding how the IT and AI role could take in the armed forces in Pakistan?
You see, you pass through evolutionary phase of humanity, and you have one revolution, second revolution. I think we stand at the cusp of a brand new revolution, which is driven by artificial intelligence. In fact, it is going to be such a big revolution that it will redefine the very humanity that we know. In fact, it will not be whether pre-industrial stage or post-industrial stage or pre-agriculture revolution or post-agriculture revolution. It will be from the times were created to the time post-artificial intelligence. I don't think so we have comprehended in totality the magnitude of the change that is just round the corner. And for that, there is skill available in this country. There is talent available in this country. What we need to do is to harness that skill and harness that talent, not only in the security domain, in which I can assure you we are doing much, but also in every single segment of our human life, especially those relating to our economy. And I think this is one field where the military and the civil sectors can jointly work together to work out opportunities so that we can cross-share ideas and bring the technology on the table that will enable Pakistan, a Pakistan of the future. And Pakistan military is prepared and will inshallah do that job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, the last question is actually personally from me, and I hope that you do not mind. Your Excellency, just now you have emphasized that the role of women in Pakistan have undoubtedly been very impressive. And I need to tell you that the women that I've met here are some of the most beautiful and intelligent souls I've ever met, and not just in Pakistan, but also Pakistani women abroad. So, Your Excellency, what are the maybe a few words that you can say to the young women generation here in Pakistan to ensure them that they have a better future as women in Pakistan?
You see, on account of women, I am very clear. Our religion gives the woman the best that there has been. Our society is the one that had certain roadblocks. I personally believe, again, I refer to Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was a great proponent of women's participation in public life and in development and role in building of the nation. I have no doubt that today's women, and let me tell you, apart from my wife, I have two daughters, both of whom are married, both of whom have done their masters, who are so talented, and I believe in them so greatly that I know that if anybody can do something, I know that they can do it. So Pakistani women, I think, again, are unique in their construct because they enjoy the respect that their religion gives them, yet they are educated enough. And in my own life, I have seen how educated my grandmother was, or my mother was. And in every generation, then to my wife, and now to my daughters. So I can see a fundamental change. Let me give you an example. I used to be working somewhere in the West, and there was a professor who went to Pakistan, and he came back. And he said, I have a good news and a bad news to tell you. So he said, which one should I tell you the first? I said, okay, let's get the bad news out of the way. He said, the bad news is when I went 50 years ago to a city called Peshawar, 1 in every 10 people roaming in Peshawar was a tourist wanting to go to Kabul or wherever. This time when I have gone, I've hardly found any tourist in Peshawar. I said, well, we have collectively to think about that. I said, now give me the good news. He said, 50 years ago, I used to teach in a university. And when I used to give a lecture, for every 100 students that were sitting in front of me in the university, there were 2 women. He said, I went back this time and I gave the same lecture, and if there were 100 people sitting, there were 52 ladies sitting in that room. Thank you so much.
Wow, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please give His Excellency the biggest round of applause. And now I would like to ask Mr. Muhammad Asfar Hassan to hand out a token of appreciation, the Book of Thar, for His Excellency. And we'd like to ask everyone to please be seated. Thank you. Your Excellency, we thank you so much for your support in technology and the great progress of Pakistan, and also in the role of women here in Pakistan. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please give His Excellency the biggest round of applause. And as our chief guest, His Excellency, is leaving, we'd like to ask everyone to please remain seated as we wait for His Excellency. Thank you.